What's going on, guys? I'm out here in Chicago, about to get a session in a Grant skate park here before work, so keep an eye out for that video coming next week. But for now, I want to do a update on how I feel about these Sway 57s, so here goes that. But now on to something that I've been meaning to do. A few of you guys have asked about it, and I've been meaning to make a video on it, but it's taken me a little time. I don't intend for this channel to turn into a product review channel, but I do want to update you guys on how I feel about the USD Sways. It's been about 2 months now, and I've had some issues with them, but give you guys a little insight into what to expect if you're looking into purchasing these skates. Alright, so we'll start with the pros, and one of the things that you'll commonly hear about Sways is that the sole plates are really fast. And while I agree that they are fast, they are fast for a USD. Now I never skated the Classic or the UFS Thrones, but I did skate Carbons, Carbon Frees, both of those boots with USD 7 soles on them, and then I just did 2 years on Aeons. And I've always found the Carbon and the 7 soles to be slow, and the Aeon sole plates have got to be the slowest thing out there on the market. You cannot grind things without waxing them. And so these sole plates are faster than all of those, but they're not a crazy so fast that you never have to wax anything again. It is more that they are more in line with a standard speed of a sole plate. They're probably more comparable to a Razor sole plate or an M12 sole plate. So yes, they are fast, but they're not so fast that you never have to wax an obstacle again. Another good thing about these skates, I find them to be particularly comfortable. After 2 years in Aeons, one of the issues I had, and I know a lot of people have with Aeons, is the toe box is very short. And the toe box is a little bit taller. You got a little bit more room if you got fat feet or fat toes. You can move your toes up and down a little bit better than you could in the Aeons. I don't have a particularly wide foot. I can fit M12s with no issues, but I feel like even a relatively wide foot, you could fit these skates with no problem. The plastic that this boot is made out of is very pliable, and it can form to your foot pretty well. All around, very comfortable skate. I used to not be able to stay in Aeons for more than about 90 minutes, and I can skate these for 2+ hours. Another good thing with these skates is they are relatively light. I keep referencing Aeons. I spent the last 2 years on them now, so it's what I really know right now. But I've not found any sort of weight issues with these skates. When I first started skating them, I noticed they were a little bottom heavy, but that is more to do with the frames that I put on here that are a lot thicker and heavier than the built-in Aeon frames. But the boot itself is pretty light and pretty comparable to some of the lightest boots on the market. And finally, I find that this boot has great support. Now we'll get to the forward flex issue. I'm sure tons of people have already talked about the forward flex issue with this model of skate, but your lateral and medial, your side-to-side flex, this cuff offers a ton of support side to side, which also helps with really good power transfer. Again, the Aeons have great power transfer. It was one of the things I was afraid of when I left that skate, but I've not really found any issues going to this one. Yeah, there's a little bit less, but with that nice, relatively stiff cuff side to side, you can really put power down through your skates without any issues. Alright, let's get to the bad. Now, one of the things that I've seen everyone talk about on social media in regards to this skate is the insane amount of forward flex that these skates have. Now, I haven't found it to be too much of an issue. I adjusted pretty quickly to it, but man, the first session I had in these things, I was blown away in the wrong kind of way at how much these things they just fall on their face. It's kind of insane. I guess Ricardo Lino suspects that it's because of this soft plastic on the inside. I'm not too terribly sure. I've seen people do mods and rivet them like Solomon cuffs back here. What I had been doing was lacing up my liners through the skate and all the way up through the liner, and that helped a bit. And a problem that I'll get to here shortly changed that, and now I just wrap my laces around the cuff, and that seems to work fine. It's a bit more forward flex than I would normally ride with, but I didn't find it that difficult to adjust to. Not a deal breaker for me, but I know for some people it will be. So beware of that if you're looking into these skates. Now, as I hinted at with the forward flex and the soft shell issue, one thing that I'm a bit annoyed about is I was lacing my skates up, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but I actually pulled my lace, I pulled the eyelet all the way through the boot and ripped the entire boot. And you know, I know it's a budget skate, but I'm not the Hulk. I shouldn't be able to pull the eyelet through the plastic shell. So I was a bit annoyed about that. Again, I just changed the way I lace the boot, and it skates just fine. This little hanging piece here has never been an issue. It really doesn't bother me anymore, but at the time when it happened, I'll say I was very disappointed and very annoyed about it. I was already having a bad day, and that certainly didn't make it any better. So if you are using these top eyelets, be a little careful when you're lacing them up on hot days. The plastic might get a little soft, and it is possible to pull the eyelets through the boot. Alright, and the final bit about the type of plastic they used on this boot, while it is nice because it's nice and soft, you can really suck your foot into this boot, it's also very slippery. And I found that the inside of the shell, I mean, it is smooth as a baby's bottom in there, and it is very slippery. And I found that I got a ton of heel lift when I put my Intuitions in these. I know a lot of guys have been modding 45-degree straps on, and there's actually already divots in this mold because they use it for the power slide zoom, and the higher level sways come with 45-degree straps. I decided not to do that. I just added a bunch of shoe goo onto the back of my liners, and it's worked out really well. I've actually had zero issues with it since doing that. But just something to be aware of, that you may want to look into either a tube of shoe goo for $6 or so, or go ahead and pick up some 45-degree straps and some hardware to mod them on top of onto the skate. The last two things I want to talk about seem to be related to quality control issues that Powerslide is having. I don't know what's going on, if it's due to high demand or if they changed manufacturers or what's going on, but a lot of people seem to be having the same issues that I'm having. Again, I don't find them to be deal breakers. I think for the money, it's still a decent skate, but one of the things that's going on with the Sways in particular is depending on what size skate you get, you may end up with riveted sole plates, or you may end up with Phillips head screwdriver hardware. People are getting all kind of different stuff on these things, which just seems weird. It seems like maybe that is just a material shortage on the manufacturing side, and whatever they have is what they use. Again, I'm totally fine if I wear these sole plates out. I can drill them out, get hardware, and replace them. Not a big deal, but one thing I actually did see on Facebook was when they riveted somebody's sole plates on, they weren't centered, and they were just all kind of sideways, and that person wound up drilling the rivets out, getting hardware, and remounting the sole plates on. But I mean, I'm not one to complain much, but no skate should be leaving the factory with the sole plate on completely crooked. That's just something that should be caught. That should not be making it out of the factory. So there is that issue that a lot of people seem to be having. The big one that I see a lot of people complain about, and I've been very frustrated by this as well, is the way that the USD Buckle System works. And they've used this system on a bunch of skates. I mean, I know my Carbons always had this, my Aeons have this. It's the same one where the buckle slides into the cuff, and it's actually a great design because you don't have that hanging buckle strap. But where they mounted the actual buckle, I can't even get it undone right now, which is exactly the problem. They've mounted it too far forward, and now there's too much space between here. When it closes, it creates so much torsion on this strap that it moves this whole buckle assembly up, and it bends the wings on the buckle, which then those close in on each other, and now there isn't enough room for the strap to slide through. So you get your straps on at the beginning of a session, you go skate for a couple hours, you go to take your skates off, you're already exhausted, and now after leaning forward a bunch in your session, it's bent those tabs in and you can't get your skates off your feet. That's the first time it happened to me, and I went and bent them back, did it again, had issues again, decided not to bother with it. Then the next time I went to skate, I couldn't even put my skates on without a big hassle. And out of all the things on this skate that like, they're not great, but it was a price point skate, this is by far the most annoying thing in the world. Getting done with a session and not being able to take your skates off is just, it's the worst. There's no other way to explain it. It sucks. So I don't know if this is the way they actually designed it, or if it's a quality control issue where this hole is just not being drilled within whatever tolerances it's supposed to be. Of course, it's an easy fix. You can take this out and either put different buckles on there or move the hole back further so that this buckle assembly sits flush with the cuff. But you know, it's not something you should have to do. I shouldn't have to change the buckle assembly on a skate when I get it. There are, you know, that's one of the things that should work out of the box. So, again, I'm gonna keep skating them because I like the skate. They fit my foot really well. I like the way that they skate, but it's not without its issues. So if you're looking into these skates, those are some things you should be aware of. Again, most of them very easily remedied. The only one that really bugs me is this buckle thing. I can't explain how frustrating it is on a hot summer day to not be able to get your skate off your foot when you're just trying to leave the park. Yeah, that's it on the USD Sways. I hope this helps you guys out if you're in the market for these skates. I know that times are tough right now. You're lucky if you can even get a pair of skates in your size, if not at all. So if you're in the market for skates, it's definitely a good option to consider, especially if you're trying to stay within a reasonable budget. I still think that the Kaiser Fluid 5 is a good frame if you want to skate flat, especially on a budget. I've not tried it out yet. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm just enjoying being back on Symmetrics frames too much to change right now. And if you guys have any questions in particular, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to answer them for you guys. Maybe put it in the next video. But yeah, until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Bye.
Oh!